4-year, $198 million max extension last August. Now, Kevin Durant asked the Brooklyn Nets to be traded from the franchise on June 30th. It's been 2 weeks, and sources told our very own Adrian Wojnarowski. Now, we've seen this trend going with teams trading young players for stars. Courtney, I'm going to start with you. Should New York hesitate to trade for Durant? Trade young talent for Durant?
Well, I think the thing here, like around the league, because like we've talked about like Kevin Durant being a generational player, and even if you don't have the assets to make it happen like right now as it stands, the way your team is currently constructed, you make the call, because if a player like that becomes available and he says he wants out, like do what you have to do to at least throw an offer out there, because he's worth it. I think there's one thing that we're learning here right now in the conversation about whether a player should be loyal to himself first or the franchise first. Like that's the conversation happening in the sports world. It's one that we had, here on the show when we're talking about leverage, and whether it's on Kevin Durant's side, whether it is on the Brooklyn Nets side. But for other teams and what the cost could potentially be for Kevin Durant, I think that there is a little bit of a concern about giving away leveraging your entire future for KD. I mean, if you are a ready-built team that needs that one missing piece, and he certainly would be that for several teams, to go win a championship, he wants to go potentially do it with the Phoenix Suns or the Miami Heat, you do whatever you can to do to make that happen. But this brings me back to the Golden State Warriors and how they got themselves into this conversation about Kevin Durant and what it would possibly take to make this thing happen. Like, I'm not a fan of that idea, and doesn't have anything to do with like the legacy talk and him going back to Golden State tarnishing his legacy. I don't like the idea of a team that drafts really, really well having to give up the likes of Jordan Poole, who was in the conversation for most improved player this year, Moses Moody. We don't know what James Wiseman's going to be yet. Like all of those unknowns and this really great young core that they have, when their window to contend is wide open right now, and Steph Curry could probably play until he's 40 years old, and then you turn it over to that next group. Like if you trade for Kevin Durant, you're saying goodbye to all of those players. You're saying goodbye to a lot of draft capital. I wouldn't do it from that sense, because I think that when you build for the future, and I'm using the Golden State Warriors as the example here, like they've got next right in line right now. And I think that you'd be giving that up for the short-term game, which is probably another title. That's fine. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but you'd be leveraging your entire future to be able to get
a lot of people,
Kevin Durant. I know the one person right there is pointing at me.
Maybe
so
a lot of people.
Dominique.
I don't know if a lot of people. I mean, it depends on the team, obviously, and it seems like you want to make it about the Warriors, which I'm fine with. The Warriors, yes. All those guys, put them together. We don't know what they're going to be. Moody and Wiseman and Kuminga. We don't know what they're going to turn into. I know what they're not going to be. They're not going to be Kevin Durant. And I know that NBA championship windows are small and fickle and unpredictable. And we've seen by the Celtics. It seemed like the Celtics were kind of playing for the future in the present for a long time. And it hasn't necessarily come to fruition for them just yet. They had a championship-ready roster because they passed up on several opportunities to trade away assets and young talent to bring in guys that would have put them in championship contention years ago. And maybe they feel comfortable because they feel like they could win a championship, or maybe they missed an opportunity that passed by. I guess in this business, it's so hard to get in a position to win a championship. It's so hard to find a player like Kevin Durant, which it seems like you need someone of that caliber to win a championship. When that opportunity presents itself, you got to make that deal. You have to take that risk, because what are we doing this for? All this like, we're going to be great for 20 years. Okay, well, figure out how to be great then. Right now, if you got a chance to get Kevin Durant, you package up Wiseman, Kuminga, Baron Davis, you send Chris Mullin, anybody you can find, you put them in a package and you send them to Brooklyn so that you can get Kevin Durant. That's my view. If you are a team that is on the brink, the same goes for the New Orleans Pelicans. Like, I'm sorry, I love Ingram, but he is Kevin Durant light. He's going to have to go to Brooklyn along with all the draft picks that they want to bring Kevin Durant in. The same is true of Miami. Anybody who has a chance, anybody that Kevin Durant says he wants to play for, that is also on the doorstep of winning a championship, you make this move, and then you figure out all of the things that you had to pay for it. You figure out how to pay that credit card bill when it comes due. But right now, you enjoy the party and win yourself a championship.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe.